Hey, folks, Tito, Jeff Thitoff here with your Black and Gold Blitz. Follow me on Twitter at That Happens. Lots to talk about today, and I want to get your take on this. Do you find yourself more excited, less excited, or just normally the way you usually are for Steelers preseason games as the Steelers kick off preseason on Thursday night, 7 o'clock, hosting the Green Bay Packers? And if so, why? Like, what is it about maybe this year's preseason that is different for you than years past? I started doing some thinking on that. I think part of it's because it's the first non-Mike Tomlin preseason in a damn long time. Tomlin obviously not the coach of the Steelers anymore. Mike McCarthy comes in. That's part of it. The other part is, I think the questions regarding the backup quarterback position. And will they keep four quarterbacks? There's been now more and more talk they might keep four, which is something that doesn't happen I think it's happened like 4 times since 2005, where a team, if my numbers right in the back of my head there, I'm trying to think about that, since 2005 that a team has kept 4 quarterbacks going into the season. So, but I think it's part of the fact that Tomlin's not part of this, which, this is a rare occasion. Like in my lifetime, yes, I was alive when Cowher took over for Chuck Noll. Don't remember much about the preseason that year, but then Tomlin taking over for Cowher, that was a big deal. So this is one of those rare things in our lives. Depending on how old you are, how many different times have you seen a preseason start with a new coach from the previous year? Not that often in all likelihood. So that's part of it. Also, just this whole situation where, the Steelers used a rather high draft pick, in my opinion, on Drew Allar. They still have Will Howard on the roster, who apparently they love. We know Ben Roethlisberger loves him, Mason Rudolph, and then Aaron Rodgers. So lots of things. Also, the fact that McCarthy said, he might have Rodgers playing in the preseason. And I don't think it's going to happen in this first game, at least against Green Bay. Maybe it will. Maybe not there, but it doesn't look like he's going to do that. I think only 3 quarterbacks are going to play. But it feels like it's going to be, and maybe he wants to play, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But the way it's looking, though, is that they will probably use 3 quarterbacks. They'll probably have a starter who play a series or 2, and then maybe the second guy comes in, plays potentially the rest of the first half, maybe early into the second half, and then the third guy plays the most second half. But we'll see. And if that's the case, I would have to believe that they want to get as much film as they can on Will Howard and Drew Allar. Now, Drew Aller's making the team. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I'd be shocked if he didn't, after them using third-round draft capital to get Drew Allar. So it's an important one for Will Howard, though. This is very important to see that what Will Howard can do. Last year injured, didn't do anything. There's this chance to do something against Green Bay at home on Thursday. So, like I said, it was a thing where, and also McCarthy has said that Rodgers would play in preseason games. I don't know if he will. I don't think it makes much sense that he does. Rodgers come out and said that he thinks preseason games, I'm going to forget the quote right from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. He said it's preseason. It's not real football. That's what Rodgers said to a reporter with the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Preseason is a lot different. Teams don't run anything anymore. They just really don't. Every joint practice, even joint practices, the first year we were doing them was fun because you got to play a team that wasn't going to play how they played in the preseason. They were going to show you a lot of different things they were working on. It was like a real day in camp. But as that got on, that just stopped being it. So stopped being just like that. So I don't think we'll see Rodgers preseason, but it's not about, look, we know Rodgers is a starter. We know Aller's on the roster. This whole thing is just figuring out Will Howard, Mason Rudolph. Do you keep them both? Do you keep one of them? If so, which one? All right. Couple of things I want to talk about that I've seen from the reporting from the preseason camp. A couple people really stood out. One guy that I'm excited about is defensive lineman Derrick Harmon. Harmon got hurt, a little bit last year, but did come on and play. Ended up playing 12 games. In his career, he's played 12 games now, yes, with 2025 with Steelers last year. He's got 27 tackles and 3 sacks. He is somebody who I think is going to be a game wrecker. And that's one of the reasons I have confidence in the Steelers game, in the Steelers team. Every year I look at the Steelers, and I think for the last 4 years, maybe, I've said, I wish they would just bottom out, get a high draft pick, get the quarterback of the future. The defense is aging, no doubt about it. They've got the highest paid defense again. They put the most salary towards defense, I should say, than any other team in the NFL. But they've got some youth now. Derrick Harmon being at the forefront of that. I love what Derrick Harmon brings. Can't wait to see what he does this year. Another one is Asante Samuel Jr. I've talked about him before, and he's been getting rave reviews at camp. As the Steelers have dealt with some injuries in the defensive backfield, cornerback Asante Samuel Jr. has looked great. And McCarthy's been loved him. He was drafted the second round by the Chargers back in 2021 and played okay for them. And then had the injury issue, was on injured reserve after that, and then came back and then signed with the Steelers. And I love Asante Samuel Jr. this year. And I think they've got depth in the DB position now, which is important. I think this defense will be better than last year. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. Offense, weapons are better this year. I'm talking myself into the Steelers being, dare I say, a double-digit win team. What do you think? I want to know what you think about the preseason. I want to know what you think about the Steelers, how many wins they can get this year in the regular season. Can it be a 10-7 season? It's going to be a tough-ass division this year. Browns, And then you never know what the Bengals, with their injury history and their defense, also what that's going to look like. The Ravens coaching change, also what that's going to look like. But I'm seeing I'm starting to talk myself into a 10-win season for the Steelers. Maybe I'm sorry. Let's put it this way: I'm talking myself into a double-digit win season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's what I'm doing right now as we speak. All right. One of the things I want to talk about now is the Hall of Fame. Had the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, Hall of Fame game this past week. By the way, Hall of Fame game, over 7 million viewers for the Hall of Fame game, which blows away some of the baseball crap and things like that. It's amazing to me how many people watch a Hall of Fame game between the Cardinals and Panthers. It was the most watched Hall of Fame game in like 5 years since Steelers Cowboys. Now, there are some franchises like Steelers, like Cowboys, because of where they're located in Canton there, like the Browns, that are going to draw Patriots, Raiders. Anybody else I'm thinking of that I'm missing? Am I disrespecting anybody? But that will draw eyeballs. This Arizona and Carolina are two of the most nondescript franchises in NFL history. Panthers still relatively young. Cardinals been around for a while. Great, way back when Chicago Cardinals, and then St. Louis Cardinals, and then now Arizona Cardinals. But not like they've had this wave of success to where there's, where they are a media magnet. But still, the only big story was Carson Beck, I think. Now, turning more than that, was a great game. Really, one of the better Hall of Fame games you'll ever see. But it wasn't a reason to, it wasn't appointment watching for a lot of people. That surprised me. But nonetheless, where was I going with this? Okay, Hall of Fame now. And there's a few people, this upcoming class. Now you get like Belichick and Robert Kraft both got snubbed, did not get in the 2026 class. So they are now among the 2027 class potentially. There's some first-time guys in there also. Rob Gronkowski. He's got to get in, right? Gronk should get in first ballot. Adrian Peterson. Yes, he should get in first ballot. Now, the NFL, what I love about it, Pro Football Hall of Fame, what I love about it is they have limits on how many guys they induct each year. It's not like, if you get this many votes, you're in. They have a way they whittle it down. And so it's a very exclusive thing every year. Gronk and ADP, I think, have to be in. And then you have the whole Kraft Belichick thing, who knows? But other first-timers, Ben Roethlisberger, Richard Sherman, those are a couple of more on that one. But I think Roethlisberger, I want to key in on 3 Steelers right now, 3 former Steelers that that are first times being talked about now. Roethlisberger, I know that Eli won 2 Super Bowls. Eli and Jim Plunkett, as it stands right now, are the only 2 eligible Hall of Fame members, potentially Hall of Fame members, that have won multiple Super Bowls as a starting quarterback. Jim Plunkett, who I think should be in. Eli Manning, who I'm not sure on. Roethlisberger, though, is another multi-Super Bowl winner. He won 2, Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he was the youngest quarterback to win the Super Bowl, led the league in passing twice, also has the most career 500-yard games passing in the NFL with 4. I think Roethlisberger's first ballot. If he's not first ballot, look, he's got to get in. He has to get in. Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, also ones that Rivers now, he restarted his clock. But they were all in the same class. It's a funny thing about Rivers is that when he came back to play for the Colts, he reinstituted his insurance rights with the NFL for him and his family, but also restarted his clock. So Rivers has a way to go before he starts coming up for debate again. Now let's talk about 2 other players from the Steelers. And take off your black and gold glasses. All right? It's tough. Believe me, I know it's tough. Antonio Brown. There was a run for like 5 or 6 years where Antonio Brown was the best receiver in the NFL. Look at his average catches, yards, and touchdowns each year for like about a 5 or 6 year stretch there. He was the best receiver in the NFL before he went cray-cray. Steelers, by the way, always good at knowing when someone's going to go cray-cray. They get rid of him. They did it with Brown, with Le'Veon Bell. We'll talk about in a minute. Plaxico, but they know when to get rid of guys. All right. I don't think Antonio Brown gets in. And that's too bad for how good he was. All the stuff he did after Pittsburgh that was so visible to everybody. The frostbitten foot with the Raiders, the way all of that ended. You know, the way the Tampa Bay thing ended when he quits. Like, it's just, that's why I don't think Brown gets in. If Brown had not done those things, I think Brown's a shoo-in. But he did, so I think he's not. Do you think Antonio Brown will be a Hall of Famer someday? He certainly won't be in the upcoming one. There's no way he's going to be in now. All right, Le'Veon Bell's the other one I want to talk about. Le'Veon Bell had, again, a stretch where he was one of the best running backs in the NFL. He's a Groveport, Ohio kid. I live in Columbus, Ohio. I was rooting for him. All this stuff. Now, there's off-the-field stuff that's still going on with some allegations, and some stuff actually has already been ruled on to where he's got to pay money for it. It's like a civil kind of thing with some pretty sick stuff. On top of that, the Steelers put a franchise tag on him back in 2018, $14.5 million. Not bad. Bell decided not to sign it out the whole season. Instead of signing $14.5 million, playing with the Steelers, he sat out the entire season. Ends up, look, we know what happened next. Signs a big money contract with the Jets. Is never the same. Left a lot of money on the table. And I know he's 4th all time on the Steelers rushing list. He rushed for over 5,300 yards in just 5 seasons. But he will never, ever, ever go Taylor Swift style. He's never, ever, ever going to be together with the Hall of Fame. He will not be in the Hall of Fame. Le'Veon Bell, though, God, he was good in his prime. He'll never be in the Hall of Fame. I give Antonio Brown about a 40% chance, and that's too bad because I really like AB. But all the off-field stuff, I'm sorry, I like AB as a player. I want to make sure because there's also stuff of shooting at somebody, all these different things with AB. I liked AB as a player. And going in the Wayback Machine when they were in their prime, when they were the Killer Bees with Ben, Brown, and Bell, I had all 3 of them locked in, ready for start on their bus right now in the Hall of Fame back then. And now, in all likelihood, it'll only be Big Ben. All right, folks, that's it for the Black and Gold Blitz. Thank you for tuning in. Love to hear from you. At That Happens, where you can find me. And we've got lots of great stuff on FanStream Sports, lots of new shows, new talent coming on. Make sure you check it out. Football season's here, folks. We are back next time with the Black and Gold Daily Blitz. I'm Tito, Jeff Thitoff.